The great philosopher Curtis 50 Cent Jackson once said, "You shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. And if you got a glass jaw, you should watch your mouth." Hey, truer words may have never been spoken. Kwame Brown has become the people's champ, the voice of the people, and I believe Kwame, as well as Kevin Samuels, are currently revolutionizing media as we know it. This is the Blake Check. We got more. All right, man. So, whew, Kwame Brown over the last, I want to say, week to week and a half, has become one of the most popular people on YouTube. And he was just minding his business until Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on their All the Smoke podcast decided to bring him up as and ridicule him for being a bust. Kwame responded immediately, calling Matt Barnes Becky with the good hair, calling out Steven Jackson for being a fake thug. And then after that, Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club, who those who may not know, he is vested in their success because Charlemagne is running iHeart's Media's The Black Effect Network. The Black Effect Network, um, to do a quick synopsis, is basically there was a bunch of podcasts that were in existence and some were newly created, um, where he went around and got them all to do a deal with iHeartMedia, and that would include 85 South, um, All the Smoke. I believe Ebony Williams has a podcast with them, and just to name a few. It's a whole bunch of them. You could look it up. It's a whole bunch of them, and Charlemagne's sitting at the head of that table. So with that, you know, he's almost like created a channel for iHeartMedia to say, "Oh, you got a guest? I can filter them through this black, black audience generated thing that we got here, and they can promote and advertise whatever things that they got going on. At the same time, he sold it to these podcasts as this is an opportunity for your brand awareness to be raised by partnering up with this big company that's going to get you bigger interviews. $1 million worth of game is one of them, and a bunch of other things. And I'm sure for some, the visibility has worked tremendously in their favor. But that's pretty much Charlemagne has been entrusted with over being the overseer in a sense of all of those podcasts and all of those media outlets, which is interesting because with podcasts, a lot of times everything that was birthed ground up. These it created different media outlets, independent media outlets, where voices were created, and these voices are not controlled by bigger media conglomerate such as an iHeartMedia, right, or Viacom type of thing. So when they did that deal with Charlemagne back, I want to say about a year ago, I always found that to be quite interesting. So either way, with Charlemagne being the head of that network, when Kwame responded to Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, Charlemagne then decided to go, "Oh, y'all, y'all better leave Kwame alone. Y'all don't know his dad killed somebody, and his sister, I went to school with her, and his little brother killed somebody, and all of this just nasty, unnecessary stuff." And it's interesting to me, especially coming from Charlemagne, somebody who's been in the public eye for about at least 15 years, and we don't know his wife's name. I haven't seen any pictures of his children, but yet, or his parents, but yet Charlemagne decided to take it upon himself to weaponize his platform to to pile on and essentially verbally jump Kwame Brown, who again was minding his business until he was pulled into this whole fray with them. And yes, he's been the butt of the joke for many years, which is really crazy because all right, he didn't turn into Kobe Bryant per se, but at the end of the day, the brother played 12 years in the league. You know how many people wash out within 3 to 5 years of playing in the NBA? He lasted for 12 years, made over $50 million. But people love to throw him around as the example of what not to be, the biggest bust, the Jamarcus Russell of the NBA in a sense. So, and it's not that he's much more successful than even Jamarcus Russell. But to stay on point though, when Charlemagne did that, he crossed the line that I think a lot of people were able to see through and say, like, whoa, bro, that's crossing the boundary. That's out of bounds. Like, why would you demonize a person based on their family's actions? Sure. If you having that conversation with your homeboys in a private setting and you just bring that up, that's whatever. But you're on a public platform with millions of eyes on you, and you decide to bring up this person's family demons and family history without doing due diligence, because a lot of the information Kwame refutes is not as he presented it. And it's like that was just it was some nasty shit that he did. And so because of that, Kwame responded and got on his ass. He brought up the Jessica Reed story where Charlemagne was 22, 23 at the time and had a 15-year-old girl come to a party. The young lady says she was then sexually assaulted. Charlemagne was able to, he was charged with a felony for like sexual assault on a minor or something to that regard. And then he was able to plead down to the delinquency of a minor for pretty much just getting her drunk. So let me just reiterate. At 22, 23 years old, Charlemagne had a 15-year-old girl. In the interview you can find on Star, Funkmaster Flex replayed portions of the interview, as well as a interview from her mother, who said the only reason that the case was dropped from a felony to a misdemeanor is because at the time her daughter was about 16 when they were going to court, and she tried to almost make it go away by not cooperating and just hope that it would all go away. But then as time goes on, Charlemagne has, through his podcast and through interviews, continued to push a narrative of like it was some great gross misunderstanding and he was some innocent party that just got caught up in something that he really had nothing to do with. And that, from what the family's account is far from the truth. So now Kwame Brown has responded and he has put it out there. Everything. Oh, what about the Jessica Reed situation? What about, you know, how you caught this case? You don't have anything to say about that. You have nothing to say about my family history. How about we get into your history? Charlemagne then turned around and gave himself donkey of the day and tried to apologize in some half-hearted apology after he felt the heat and the pressure. Kwame has said that he does not accept the apology and went on to continue to, you know, say that maybe he would even go on the Breakfast Club and hear the apology face to face. And he's asking the supporters if they think that's a good idea. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that Kwame Brown should go on the Breakfast Club and accept Charlemagne's apology? I personally feel as though unless he's gonna go up there with the same talking points that he's been talking about in regards to getting the Jessica Reed story out there, um, then he shouldn't do it because they're going to use that platform to just downplay whatever the seriousness is of these accusations. And I don't think that I don't think that would serve well for Kwame and the brand that he's been able to build based off the momentum of the support from the people. Uh, and why I say I believe him and Kevin Samuels are revolutionizing media is because when they go on live, they're getting 25, 30,000 views. When they dropping videos, they're getting 150, 200,000 views. Like, this speaks to people are in search of something that they can connect with. And a lot of the media that we're getting, Breakfast Club just hit like the 10-year anniversary not too long ago. A lot of that stuff that they doing on there, when they first came, Breakfast Club was a movement. People loved them because they were relatable, and a lot of things that they talked about were sensational, but it was things that people still appreciated, having some conversations like that were a little bit fun and outlandish. But then at some point, it just seemed to become off centered. A lot of uh, a lot of homosexuality with jokes and things like that. And to be honest with you, in the black community, that's not a real big thing. Like in the white community, I understand they push the lines with all type of homosexual jokes and different things like that. But in the black community, we don't really do that. We don't really play around like that, getting molding of Charlemagne's butt cheeks and his nuts and DJ Envy playing with it, and it's just a lot of that stuff is like it starts to make people feel as though these people are disconnected for one, and also there might be hidden agendas. You can speak to whatever those agendas may be on your own time, but it loses the connection with the people. So when the people find somebody like Kwame Brown who comes off as uncut, unfiltered, and he's just speaking the raw and the real, they latch into it like no other. And PC culture might just have been turned on its head. So we're going to continue to see this, see how Kwame grows, see what's next. He's talking to everybody. Stephen A. Smith ain't safe. Skip Bayless ain't safe, because a lot of these people have taken things where it's not just about commenting on sports. He's not saying, oh, you guys can't talk about athletes anymore. He's saying you guys have to be mindful of the personal attacks and the personal digs that they're taking at these people and these athletes and these stars who at the end of the day are people. And it's like, if you wouldn't say that to that man's face, you don't have no kind of right to get on television and speak about, well, I wouldn't trade that person for a bag of chips and all of this and all of that, because it's like at the end of the day, people feel away. And ESPN, to their credit, has been one of those platforms where they've given the athletes an opportunity to voice their opinion, and this is the type of thing that comes of it. And so, it's amazing to watch this whole thing unravel. But I truly believe this is the beginning of the revolution of media as we once knew it to becoming something much different, and we shall see. This is the Blake Check. Just a couple thoughts, man. Y'all reach out in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. I appreciate all the love and support. I'm out of here.